Hey, Commanders fans. Today I've got some news that surprised me but makes perfect sense when you consider what our team needs to take the next step. We've talked a lot about offensive reinforcements, about Jaden Daniels and the scoring potential we have, but what about the defense? Is it ready to hold opponents? Stay tuned until the end because an expert has pointed to an unexpected name as the X factor for our success in 2025, and this could be the key to a real fight in our division. And, of course, don't forget to like. It's just a click and it helps me a lot. We know the Washington Commanders are preparing intensely for the upcoming off-season workouts with a clear goal in mind, surpassing last season's performance and showing we can compete with the best. Jaden Daniels and the coaching staff, now in their second year working together, have made major roster changes this offseason, all in an attempt to win the NFC East title. Our team significantly increased depth at several positions this offseason. We strengthened the offense by bringing in heavy hitters like Deebo Samuel, an incredible talent, and Laramie Tunsil, who arrives to bolster our offensive line. These moves show we're investing heavily to give Jaden Daniels all the tools he needs to shine and take our offense to the next level. With all these talented additions, our team seems to have what it takes to face the NFL's toughest opponents. The roster is robust, with plenty of firepower to score and make explosive plays. But, as a fan, one question still lingers and makes me a little apprehensive. Will our defense, especially in crucial moments, be able to stop the potent offenses we'll face? With so many talented players on the roster, both offensively and defensively, it's hard to point to a single name and say, this is the guy who will make the difference. We have stars, promising players, and experienced veterans. But in a recent analysis, the folks at Pro Football Focus, a reference in statistics and evaluations, pointed to a player they believe is the true X factor for the Washington Commanders in 2025. And, to my surprise, the chosen name plays on the defensive side of the ball. According to PFF's analysis, our team's X factor for next season is veteran cornerback Marshon Lattimore. When I read that, I confess I was a little surprised. We think of an X factor as a player who will have a spectacular season and carry the team, and Lattimore, because of his recent history, wasn't the first name that came to mind. But their explanation makes you think. PFF recalled that the Commanders acquired Lattimore in a trade before last season's deadline with the goal of improving a cornerback unit that was struggling. Our secondary really suffered in 2024, and bringing in a player with his track record seemed like a great move at the time to try to correct that and give the defense more solidity. Unfortunately, as PFF highlighted, Lattimore suffered a hamstring injury late last season. This injury severely limited his playing time, and he only managed to play in the team's last 5 games, including the postseason games, which were important, but where he still didn't seem fully recovered and at his best. PFF's analysis continues, explaining that a return to full health and a full season of production, closer to his early career averages, would significantly improve our cornerback unit. They highlighted a crucial point. Our secondary ranked last in the league in PFF's coverage rating last season, showing the size of the problem we need to solve. There's been some speculation about Lattimore's future in Washington, even though he's still under contract after our franchise brought him in mid-season 2024. As PFF mentioned, Lattimore had injury problems last season and, unfortunately, couldn't play at the level we expected when he returned for those final games. Lattimore is known for being a cornerback who can get into the heads of opposing wide receivers using his experience and football intelligence. He's entering his 9th year in the league, demonstrating the experience he carries. It's fair to say that he may not be exactly the same Pro Bowl player he was early in his career with the New Orleans Saints, but the talent and ability are still there. However, the key point for PFF and for us fans is that regaining full health and having a full offseason to work with our team, fully adapt to the defensive scheme, and prepare physically should help Lattimore return to being, at minimum, a solid and reliable starting cornerback. And that's crucial for our defense. The Commanders' secondary was undoubtedly one of the worst in the NFL last season. For me, as a fan, it was painful to watch some games where we saw our offense do its part, but the defense couldn't contain opponents, especially in the passing game. This fragility in the secondary probably cost us some wins that could have changed the course of our season. Our team knew it needed to address this secondary issue this offseason, and management acted to try to correct it. We brought in veteran Jonathan Jones as a free agent, an experienced player with a good track record. We drafted Trey Amos, a promising talent from Ole Miss, and signed 2 undrafted free agents, Ventrell Cypress, second, and Robert McDaniel, seeking to increase competition and depth. Despite the new arrivals and the competition they bring, Marshon Lattimore shouldn't worry about losing his starting spot, at least if he's healthy. But to truly be the X factor that PFF points to and to help our defense improve, he will have to show up, play at a high level, and most importantly, ensure he's helping to lead the secondary. His experience is valuable, and he needs to be a reference for the younger players. Our team has the potential and, on paper, what it takes to compete at a high level next season. But, as in any sport, everything will depend on the team's ability to reach its maximum potential and play cohesively. The offense showed incredible flashes last season, and if it can maintain or even improve what we saw, that's a great start. But the big difference, and where Lattimore's X factor comes in, is on defense. If our defense can improve even just slightly above the league average, then I, as a fan, can start to see the Washington Commanders as a legitimate threat to any team in the NFL. A solid defense, complementing a promising offense, is the recipe for success in the league. In the 2024 NFL Draft, our team made a pick that got me very excited. They selected Mike Sainristil in the second round. This kid is pure energy, intelligent, and with enormous potential to be an elite slot cornerback in the league. His arrival was seen by many as an important step to bring more quality and youth to our much-needed secondary. And the moves didn't stop there. During last season, at the trade deadline, the Washington Commanders struck a deal with the New Orleans Saints to bring in Marshawn Lattimore. That was a bombshell. A four-time Pro Bowler cornerback coming to our team, even though he was dealing with a hamstring injury at the time. The intention was clear: to add a proven talent to try and turn the key on the pass defense. Looking back at the 2024 season, the Commanders' pass defense wasn't the best in the league. We know that and suffered watching some games. But it wasn't the worst either. Our team finished in the middle of the pack in points allowed overall, which shows that, despite difficulties at times, the defense could hold its own at others. In fact, when we look at the statistics more closely, our pass defense was in the top half of the league in terms of passing yards allowed per play, which indicates that we weren't allowing long, explosive passes all the time. And, impressively, we ranked third in the league in passing yards allowed per game, which is a very good number and shows that, on average, we were limiting the volume of the opponent's passing game. Still, despite these facts and the aggressive moves our team made to improve the position, Pro Football Focus thought none of our cornerbacks deserved to be in the top 32 in the league before the 2025 season. To me, that's disrespectful. How is it that none of our secondary players appear on this list, even with the additions and some decent numbers last season? What angered me most was seeing who was ranked last, number 32 overall. Darren Bland, star of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but he missed the first 10 games of last season and ended up with 0 interceptions, and his team missed the playoffs. Comparing that to what we tried to do and the players we have, it seems like a different yardstick was used. Even our rookie Mike Sainristil, who is widely considered one of the best picks in his class and had an immediate impact, didn't get a projection to appear in this sophomore list. Meanwhile, Bland seems to have received a lot of benefit of the doubt for performances he had before the injury that sidelined him for a good part of 2024. This seems inconsistent to me, at the very least. There are even defenders who appeared among the top 32 in this PFF ranking who, believe it or not, had lower pass coverage grades than some of our players last season. But they ended up being ranked higher because of other metrics the site uses. This shows that the ranking isn't based solely on coverage, but still, the total absence of our cornerbacks is hard to swallow. Now, whether we consider this absence from the ranking a slight or not, it certainly strengthens the case for those who would like to see the Washington Commanders make a trade for a big name like Jalen Ramsey. We know he's likely to be traded by the Miami Dolphins at any moment, and speculation about him coming here has gained traction with this lack of recognition of our current secondary. Jalen Ramsey, for example, was ranked 14th on this same PFF list. In other words, if our team could bring in Ramsey, at least one Commanders player would be present in the ranking of the top 32 cornerbacks in the league. This shows the level of talent he represents, and the impact his arrival would have not only on the field, but also in terms of external perception of the strength of our secondary. Of course, we can't forget the potential we already have on the roster. If Marshawn Lattimore can return to the form that made him a Pro Bowl player, and if Mike Sainristil can take that expected step in his second year in the league, maybe our team doesn't even need to go after a player like Ramsey to have a strong and recognized presence on the PFF list in 2026. The potential for internal growth exists. The question is, do we wait for the potential to develop and hope that injuries don't get in the way? Or do we act now to bring in a proven talent who would solve the problem of lack of recognition and add an immediate star to the secondary? It's a difficult decision for management, but it shows how external perception doesn't yet match the moves we've made. To conclude, with the Washington Commanders' secondary seemingly forgotten in the elite NFL rankings even after the bold offseason moves, the big question that remains, and that only time and on-field performance can answer is, will the players already on the team, like Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Sainristil, be able to prove the experts wrong and force their way into these lists with spectacular performances in 2025? Or is the current lack of recognition a sign that management will need to make another aggressive move in the market to bring in a big-name cornerback and finally give our secondary the respect it deserves?